What's up, YouTube? Back for another reaction. This is 8 True Scary Horror Stories animated compilation. Okay, this is by Llama Arts, and yeah, it's about to get spooky and creepy and everything else you can think of. Let's bring this a little bit closer again. Okay. Oh, this is my Cookie Monster. He's gonna be keeping me company here. What do you think of his little bow tie? Look at that. Put a little bow tie on him. He's going to be keeping me company in case I get too scared. In other words, I'm going to hold him out and, you know, he can deal with all the ghosty stuff. Yeah? I had a cushion last time, but this time, Cookie Monster. Here we go. Let's jump in.
In all my years of being a police officer in Floyd County, Georgia, I had only experienced 2 horrifying situations. I'll share with you the worst of the 2. It was a slow night, and I was patrolling the dirt roads in my cruiser. At this particular spot, there were tiny woods on both sides of the road. And then it all started. I spotted somebody jumping into the woods on the left. I only saw half of them though. They were gone so quickly. I pulled up closer and shined the spotlight into the woods. I didn't see them. Unfortunately, it was kind of my job to check on things like this, so I hesitantly stepped out from the car and began searching.
Nope, you don't pay me enough.
This, I was so ready to pull my gun, as I was actually terrified. And then, the cliched snap of a branch from behind a tree almost made me want to run back to the car, but I instead did my job and called for them to come out. Someone wearing a mask stepped out from the tree. I told them to raise their arms, take off their mask, and come to me slowly. They raised their hands, but they didn't remove the mask.
Reminds me of The Purge. No. What is with that light? Seriously. Is it not giving off any light at all?
I tried to demonstrate my authority by yelling this time, ordering them to take it off. They looked as if they were about to take it off, when suddenly, he or she looked to their left, and then back at me. I heard footsteps coming from my right.
Oh no.
I drew my gun. I yelled as loud as I could for everybody to come out with their hands up. You may be thinking, why? Well, if you were in this position, in this setting, you would have been shitting yourself just like I was. Another person wearing a mask walked over. This one holding an axe. I had my gun locked on him.
Oh.
But suddenly, footsteps started coming from all directions. I looked around, and I was surrounded. There were at least 10 strangers wearing masks, surrounding me almost in a circle, with only an opening behind me. Half of them were armed with axes and the like.
What?
I stood there, gun raised, but not even aimed at anything at this point. I felt like I was going to throw up. One of them, I'm not sure which, finally broke the silence, telling me in a muffled, deep voice, "Go away." My heart dropped as he said this, in a way that I knew I was going to live.
You know what it is? It's like those things I keep hearing about furries. People who dress up as animals and go out and do things that shouldn't be talked about. Yeah, that's what that is. It's a sex party. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. They just happen to carry axes and things with them as props. You know, make believe and all that. Roleplay. Weirdos. That's what I call them.
Driving down the road half a mile, all while calling for backup. As you would guess, the whole group was gone from the woods when a search squad arrived. I have a theory on this, however. I believe that what I witnessed was some kind of fucked up secret society that was planning on trapping an innocent passerby, and I think that whoever jumped into the woods as I was passing recognized my car as a police car and tried to hide.
Yep.
I believe they would have stopped me, led me to the woods, and done whatever this group does for its sick kicks.
If it had been someone else, they wouldn't have stopped. I wouldn't have. No, I would have run him over. Guaranteed. See if he jumped out and tried to, oh, help me. Nope. Straight through. Nope, I'm not stopping. Hell no. No. Online dating. I'm not a
At the
fan.
time of this story, I had already met a total of 3 people on Match.com. It didn't really work out with 2 of them, and the third one I dated for 4 months. After my breakup, I wanted to take a break from commitment and just find something more casual. And so I matched with a girl named Kylie, who I got along with decently well on the app. She seemed down to just come over to my apartment and hang out for the night. She showed up about half an hour later and seemed really
You told her where you lived? This person you've never met? What the hell is wrong with you? I know people who've known me for a while don't know where I live. No, he's messing up. Whatever happens, he deserves this. This is a life lesson.
quiet in person. We hung out in my room in the upstairs of my apartment for most of the night. We just talked for a while watching TV in the background. There were a bunch of awkward silences, but I did my best to fill them with new conversations. In the back of my mind the whole time I was thinking, are we gonna kiss? Does she expect me to move in for the kiss? How do I go about it? But hours of talking later, I started to realize there was something wrong with this girl. She became increasingly more emotionless. She was staring off across the room as she'd talk slowly, talking about increasingly deep and dark things. Then she said something surprising. She thanked me for allowing her to sleep over. Apparently, when I said she could come hang out for the night, she meant to literally stay the night. She got off the bed and asked what blankets she could use for the floor. I grabbed a couple blankets and pillows and made a sort of bed for her on the floor.
No.
She thanked me and then laid down on her side facing away from me. I guessed she was ready to go to sleep. I turned off the TV and closed my eyes. We didn't say a single word to each other, and I have to admit it was very awkward. I fell asleep probably half an hour after shutting the TV.
Something tells me it's about to get a whole lot more awkward. Yeah.
But I awoke randomly in the middle of the night. I sat up and looked down at the floor, and was able to see that Kylie didn't appear to be laying on the floor anymore.
Oh.
I
No.
flipped on the lamp and looked around the room. She wasn't anywhere, actually. But just then, I heard a voice downstairs. It sounded like it could be Kylie. All the walls in my apartment are paper thin, so noise travels quite easily throughout it. I quietly left my room and stood at the foot of the top of the stairs, listening for what Kylie could be saying. All the lights upstairs were off, but she was talking in a low voice. I just couldn't tell for sure what exactly she was saying. I figured she was on the phone with someone, but still, I went downstairs to check. I stepped into the dark kitchen, and there she was. But she wasn't on the phone. She was just creepily sitting in one of the chairs facing the wall. She seemed to still be muttering to herself. I was frozen. All I could say was, "Kylie?" She turned her head to me slowly, looked at me for a few seconds, then turned back to face the wall. I went upstairs quickly to my room and crawled into my bed to call my dad.
Or an exorcist.
I had to call at least 3 times before he finally picked up, obviously sounding concerned. I told him in a quiet panic that some random girl from online was staying the night, and now she was sitting in my kitchen muttering to herself like a crazy person.
Not like a crazy person.
But told me to call 911 if she seemed like she was having some kind of episode to safely get her out of there. Then I looked up and noticed a figure standing by my bedroom door in the dark. It was Kylie. All I saw was the outline of her skinny body. She stood there for maybe 10 seconds.
Oh no.
All I heard was my dad on the other end of the phone saying hello over and over. The next thing I saw was the silhouette of Kylie at my door suddenly charge at me in my bed as she began to scream. She lunged at me and put her hands around my throat, trying to choke me. However, I was able to quickly overpower her and hold her down against the bed. I screamed at my dad to call the cops. I was able to drag the insane girl downstairs by the time the cops came.
Yep.
The cops took her away to fill out a few documents. I think it's safe to say that you should always meet people from websites and apps in a safe, public place first.
You think? Let me ask you, would you do that? Would you give someone your address? Someone you've never met before? No. Not me. That must be insane. Hey, they were perfect for each other. They're both nuts. Oh. Oopsie.
I went to the bathroom in the middle of the night after some nightmares, and left my door cracked open before I got back into bed. When I fell asleep, I dreamt that I was outside my room. In the dream, I saw my door cracked open. I pushed it open, and then saw myself sleeping. When I woke up, my door was wide open.
What? Okay, that's creepy.
When I was a teenager, I was home alone one
I see that voice. Scared me. That voice scared me.
weekend and I was sleeping in my parents' room since there was a TV in there. Sometime around 2 a.m., I felt like I was being stared at from the direction of the hallway. I looked up and I saw a shadow person looking at me. It was weird because it was a pure man-shaped black mass and I could see him in the dark hallway. I'm guessing the light from the TV helped. I sat up and stared back, but I was terrified. We looked at each other for probably 5 seconds and then it turned around and walked down the hall. A few seconds later, I heard a loud crash. I was so scared I turned the TV to the Disney Channel and stayed awake for as long as possible. When I woke up the next morning, I walked down the hall to the bathroom, and that's when I noticed a mirror that was hanging had fallen off the wall and was shattered.
Woman, you didn't call the police? There was someone in your house, and you just went to sleep. What? You went to sleep when you knew someone... What is wrong with these people?
My family still doesn't believe me, but I know what happened.
Then you should have called the police. Or someone. Ghostbusters, maybe?
This happened to a friend of mine. She told me about it about a year or so ago. We'll call her
Okay.
Minji. Minji is in her late 20s and works as an English tutor in South Korea. One evening, a few years ago, she was tutoring a high school boy. They were up studying pretty late and the buses stopped running. Being a long way from his house, the boy asked if he could crash on her floor overnight and get the first bus in the morning.
Nope.
Minji was very reluctant because inviting a teenage
Uber exists for a reason. As do taxis. No.
male student to stay the night didn't sound like a great idea, but he was begging her.
I would happily I would happily pay for a taxi. No.
Eventually she relented. They went back into her one-room apartment, and she got into the bed while he laid a blanket out on the floor, and they both fell asleep.
I'm sorry to keep pausing it, but are these people just stupid? She's a teacher, right? And she lets an underage boy sleep in her bedroom with her. And she sees this as okay. No. No.
A few hours later, at maybe 2 a.m., the boy wakes Minji up. "I'm really hungry," he says. "Let's go get some food." Minji opens her eyes and looks up at him in disbelief. "Food? Now? It's 2 a.m. Go back to bed." But the student insists. "No, I'm so hungry. Let's eat something now." She tells him that there's some ramen in the kitchen and he could fix himself some. This doesn't satisfy him. He doesn't want ramen. "There's a 24-hour place just down the road. Let's go there." Eventually, after several minutes of persuasion, the boy gets Minji to come with him to the restaurant. They leave the apartment and head out. As soon as they're on the street, the boy turns to Minji and says, "I'm not hungry. I woke up in the middle of the night and looked under your bed. There's a man sleeping there." They call the police and discover that a homeless man had been living in Minji's apartment, sleeping under the bed for 2 months. The boy only saw him because he was lying on the floor, so he had a clear view under the bed.
Oh.
My friend told me about something that happened to her when she was younger, about 8 or 9. She was walking home from school and got her key out to let herself into the house. Her single mom worked and came home later on weekdays. As she reached up to put the key in the door, her mom opened it in a dressing gown, having left work sick. Instead of greeting her, she looked straight past my friend and immediately said, "Who are you?" My friend turned around, and a man in a long coat hurried back down the path and down the street. Being ill that day had possibly saved her daughter from something potentially horrible happening to her.
Oh.
One day while doing my laundry, one of the lights blew out in my basement. My basement is set up so that the laundry room is split up from the other side of the basement with a wall and a door. In order to get upstairs, you have to exit the laundry room and go through the other part of the basement. So the light blew in the other part, not the laundry room. As it was the only light on that side, it was pretty dark.
So yeah, I've never had a basement, but if I did, I would never use it. Too creepy.
I finished the laundry I had to do while dreading the walk through the dark basement. I exit the laundry room, get halfway through the basement, and I hear a loud cackle. Imagine a sound people make when they imitate a witch. Take that and imagine the witch had been smoking for 50 years, making her voice deeper and hoarser.
Oh, what?
That's what I heard, clear as day, right behind me. I didn't hesitate to bolt for the stairs. I waited until my father got home and then changed the bulb. I have yet to hear that cackle since, and I have not told a single person in the house about it.
Oh.
This happened to my dad when he was a little kid. I think it messed him up a bit emotionally, but he never admitted it. This story freaks me out just imagining it. So I'm pretty sure my dad was 10 years old, and he was home alone for whatever reason. He was watching TV in the living room. It was the only TV in the house, and all of a sudden, the TV just shut off. So he got up and turned it back on. It was an old shitty TV, so it wasn't weird at all. When he got back on his couch, it happened again. He got up once again and turned the TV back on, and again it turned off.
Somebody has the remote control. That's what it is.
He repeated this process a couple more times before he started to look for the remote. While looking for the remote, he walked over to check behind one of the couches and saw a man hiding in the corner, holding the TV remote. My dad described the man as having long, messy hair and a crazed look in his eyes. He gave my dad a smile, and my dad ran out the front door screaming like a little girl. He went to his neighbors, who called the police. The man was still in the house when the police got there, so he was arrested. My dad told me that he still assumes the man was either homeless or crazy. Either way, this story is downright terrifying.
Or both. Okay, apparently that's the end of the video. Oh god. I couldn't have come soon enough. Yeah, that was pretty bad. I jumped a couple of times there. Yeah, well, if you like my reactions, and Cookie Monster, don't forget him. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel because it helps my channel grow, and hit the notification bell because that will notify you next time I release another video. And yeah, I am out of here.